Bare to You by Sylvia Day Chapter 7 Part 3. Before listening, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Gideon appeared beside us. I'm cutting in. It wasn't a request. Carrie stopped and looked at me. I nodded. He backed away with a bow, his gaze hot and fierce on Gideon's face. Gideon pulled me close and took over the dance the way he took over everything, with dominant confidence. It was an entirely different experience dancing with him than with my two previous partners. Gideon had both the expertise of his brother and Carrie's familiarity with the way my body moved, but Gideon had a bold, aggressive style that was inherently sexual. It didn't help that being so close to a man I'd so recently been intimate with seduced my senses. Despite my unhappiness, he smelled scrumptious, with undertones of sex, and the way he led me through the bold sweeping steps made me feel the soreness deep inside me, reminding me that he'd been there not long ago. "You keep running off," he muttered, scowling down at me. Seemed like Magdalene picked up the slack quick enough. His brow arched and he drew me closer. Jealous? Seriously? I looked away. He made a frustrated noise. "Stay away from my brother, Eva." "Why?" "Because I said so." My temper ignited, which felt good after all the self-recrimination and doubts I'd been drowning in since we'd screwed like feral bunnies. I decided to see if turnabout was fair play in Gideon Cross's world. "Stay away from Magdalene, Gideon." His jaw tightened. "She's just a friend." "Meaning you haven't slept with her yet?" "No. Damn it. And I don't want to." "Listen." The music wound down and he slowed. "I have to go. I brought you here, and I would prefer to be the one who takes you home, but I don't want to pull you away if you're enjoying yourself. Would you rather stick around and go home with Stanton and your mother?" Enjoying myself. Was he kidding or clueless? Or worse, maybe he'd written me off so completely that he wasn't paying attention to me at all. I pushed away from him, needing the distance. His scent was messing with my head. "I'll be fine. Forget about me, Eva." He reached for me and I stepped back quickly. An arm came around my back and Carrie spoke. "I've got her, Cross. Don't get in my way, Taylor," Gideon warned. Carrie snorted. "I get the impression you're doing a smockin' job of that all by yourself." I swallowed past the lump in my throat. "You gave a wonderful speech, Gideon. It was the highlight of my evening." He sucked in a sharp breath at the implied insult, then shoved a hand through his hair. Abruptly, he cursed and I realized why when he pulled his vibrating phone out of his pocket and glanced at the screen. "I have to go." His gaze caught mine and held it. His fingertips drifted over my cheek. "I'll call you." And then he was gone. "Do you want to stay?" Carrie asked quietly. "No. I'll take you home, then." "No. Don't. I wanted to be alone for a bit. Soak in a hot bath with a bottle of cool wine and pull myself out of my funk. You should be here. It could be good for your career. We can talk when you get home. Or tomorrow. I'm going the couch. Potato root all day." His gaze darted over my face, searching. "You sure?" I nodded. "All right." But he looked unconvinced. "If you could go out and ask a valet to have Stanton's limo brought around, I'll run to the ladies' room real quick." "Okay." Carey ran his hand down my arm. I'll get your shawl from the coatroom and see you out front. It took longer to get to the restroom than it should have. For one, a surprising number of people stopped me for small talk, which had to be because I was Gideon Cross's date. And two, I avoided the nearest ladies' room, which had a steady flow of women pouring in and out of it, and I found one located farther away. I locked myself in a stall and took a few moments longer to finish my business than absolutely required. There was no one else in the room besides the attendant, so there was no one to rush me. I was so hurt by Gideon it was hard to breathe. And I was so confused by his mood swings. Why had he touched my face like that? Why had he gotten mad when I didn't stay by his side? And why the hell had he threatened Carrie? Gideon gave new meaning to the old adage about running hot and cold. Closing my eyes, I shored up my composure. Jesus, I didn't need this. I'd bared my emotions in the limo and I still felt horribly vulnerable. A state I'd spent countless therapy hours learning to avoid. I wanted nothing more than to be home and hidden, freed from the pressure of acting like I was completely pulled together when it was anything but. You set yourself up for this, I reminded myself. Suck it up. Taking a deep breath, I stepped out and was resigned to finding Magdalene leaning against the vanity with her arms crossed. She was clearly there for me, lying in wait at a time when my defenses were already weak. My step faltered. Then I recovered and made my way to the sink to wash my hands.